Welcome to the Key Hire podcast, Key Hire show for small business. I am your host and creator of Key Hire, Corey Harlock. And today we are going to, our goal is to always help small business owners with information they need that can make their business better. Today we want to focus on an area where our specialty lives in the talent arena, the talent strategy and acquisition arena, and talk about the gut hire, the gut feeling hire, or the I'll know it when I see it hire that a lot of people are kind of they utilize, they think it's their strategy, and we want to talk about kind of the pros and cons of the gut hire strategy, or the I'll know it when I see it strategy. So let's kick this off with a couple thoughts. 62% of small business owners say they have made a wrong hire. The other 38% of those business owners are liars. Everyone has made a bad hire. It doesn't matter what company you are, what you do. Hiring, dealing with people is uncertain. There's no certainty to it. You never bat 1,000 when we deal with people because there's so many variables. Things happen in people's lives. You could hire the right person, but something happens outside of work in their personal life that affects performance or their availability or whatever it could be. There's so many variables here, we never get it right. So the idea of hiring is we always want to play the probabilities. We want to do whatever we can to increase the probability of getting the hire right. And hiring on gut feel and using the philosophy, I'll know it when I see it, minimizes the probability of getting the hire right. And why is it important to get the hire right? What is it? And I think we all know, but it can be any number of things, right? It can affect a big part of your business. 78% of employees surveyed said bringing the wrong person into the organization can affect their dedication to your organization, meaning good employees become average or quiet quitters or whatever term you want to use, or stop caring because you put the wrong person in their environment. 78% of people, that's a big number. 80% of your turnover is because of wrong hires, putting the wrong person into your environment. 80%. And the cost, I mean, if we put the cost to that, depending on who you follow and what stats you look at, I'm a Brad Smart fan. And Brad Smart kind of estimates on average, the cost of a bad hire is about 5 times that person's annual salary. And there's a lot of factors in there. People quitting, that's a huge cost. Could be lost business. It could be missed upsells. It could be any number of things, your time and commitment to kind of fighting fires and having conversations and doing corrective action and putting them on a performance enhancement plan, whatever it could be, right? So hiring the wrong people stops your business from moving forward and just really internally causes a lot of damage. And I want to explain a bit of the psychology around that. Eben Pagan kind of has a really simple definition for hires, and he breaks them into ABCs, right? Now, I'm not a big fan of it. It's pretty general, but it works for this example. So an A player is someone who, if you give them a task, they either get it done on time or early, to the standard or above. Things get in the way, they overcome, right? So if they don't know what to do, they're going to knock on your door and say, hey, I just ran into a little hurdle here. Can you give me some clarity? I just want to make sure I get this done on time. A B player is someone who will get the task done on time or a little late, to the standard or a little lower. So they're the type of person who, if they run into a roadblock and you say, hey, did you get this done? And they say, oh, no, I don't quite have it done yet. I didn't know how to do X. And you say, oh, okay, well, just do this, and that should work. And they say, great, they take it away. So they kind of lack that proactive approach, right? That problem solving muscle. A C player is what he calls a black box builder. And basically, their only job is job preservation, which means if they're your accountant and you go to them and say, how do you do your job? They pull out an abacus and you say, why do we use an abacus? Why don't we use Excel? And they say, oh no, Excel doesn't work with this company. We need to use the abacus. And you say, okay, well, explain how you do your job. Walk me through this. And they talk you in circles to the point where you say, thank God you're here because I have no idea what you do. That's a C player. And if you start getting in their business, they all of a sudden, there will be fires will start all over your business. Did you know about this? Did you know about that? Anything to take the heat off themselves. So why is this important? It's important because you need to understand this. The only people in that business that their performance will improve or go down are the B players. So if you build an environment of A players, B players will raise their game and C players will get out of town because that's a culture of accountability, of problem solving, of getting things done. And C players hate that because they can't hide in a culture of accountability. Now, if you have more C players than A players, your B players, their performance will go down and your A players will get out of town because they can't stand working in a culture where there's finger pointing and people aren't doing their job and there's blame passed and all that good stuff. So we always want to try to create a culture and hire people that are going to raise our company up, raise our productivity, raise our performance, our quality, our OTDs, whatever it is. But it's important to know those Bs can be influenced. Let me ask a question. Has it ever happened to you as a business owner where you have been in a really busy period and you have an obvious problem employee, a leader, an employee, whatever it is, people are complaining, you know you have a problem, but you say to yourself, I'm just going to ride this out because I really need this person here to get through this busy time. Then when things slow down and you're getting ready to address that problem, someone comes and hands you their resignation and says, I'm giving you my 2 weeks. And was that person one of your A players? Keeping C players in your business means watching A players leave. And I'll put my hand up. That's happened to me when I used to run restaurants back in the day. Just got to get through this. And as soon as you get through, you're like, okay, I'm going to deal with this problem. Then your best people leave. And guess what? Now that person, that toxic person who's causing chaos in your business becomes more valuable because they're the ones who will show up every day now. But you can't build a great team because now you're building a C player, your Bs are lowering and things get hard. That is the result of not having the right process and procedure, talent acquisition and hiring process in place. So gut hires, the problem with hiring on gut feel, right? Why you need to stop. Why you need to stop doing the I'll know it when I see it hire is this. There are 2 reasons. The first one is it's riddled with bias. If I'm in a good mood today and in walks a candidate who I immediately like for whatever reason, I might give them really easy questions. If they stumble, I might help them get to the answer so I can walk out of the room and say, wow, they really knew how to answer all my questions. They had all the right answers. If I'm in a bad mood and you walk in the room and for whatever reason I think, meh, I might start asking you really hard questions and not helping you. Then I can walk out of the room and say, well, they couldn't answer the basic questions. There's no way we can hire them. There are a million other biases that we can talk about, but that's kind of an easy, simple summary. The second reason we need to have a defined process and procedure around hiring, interviewing and hiring, is we have to create a baseline. How can you know what you're hiring against if you've never created the baseline? When people come in and we're asking them have the same people asking the same questions in the same order, and we start to understand the people that are included in the process, start to understand what a good answer sounds like, what the answer that best fits your culture and your business sounds like. They start to understand what answer might not be there. They start to understand how to ask questions 2 and 3 layers deep to get down to the bottom of things. When you include the same people over and over and give them the same tasks, you create a baseline for what good looks like, and also what bad looks like for your company. Now, I want to clarify, what's bad for your company might be right for another company, right? There is a job out there for everyone, and there is someone for every job out there. Our job in the hiring process and interviewing process is to vet that and make sure our job is right for the person and the candidate is right for our job. So how do we do that? Well, we have a process at Key Hire, and it's called Hiring in the Key of C. And one of those C's, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit, but one of those C's is we need to make sure that when we're running our process, we are using, one of the C's that we want to use is the correct process. And when we talk about using the correct process, we talk about being efficient and exhaustive all at the same time. Another C we talk about is being consistent. And what we talk about what we mean when we talk about being consistent is this. We want to have the same people ask the same questions in the same order. And why do we want to do that? Well, introducing new people into the process. So if I interview a candidate and I have leader A also interview the candidate, then I interview a second candidate, but I have leader B interview the second candidate. When we sit at the table, A and B don't have a point of reference. There's no baseline. They don't know what well, I like them for this. Well, I like them for this. They probably haven't asked the same questions. They're probably not talking about the same things. They're not measuring the same information. So when we talk about a consistent process, we mean always including the same people in your process, right? We want to run the process. Another point I want to clarify here is we talk about being exhaustive but efficient. Every step of your process has to be a go, no go. If you get to the end when you bring someone into your business and you've spent 2 hours with them, there's no way you should be saying, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe we need to talk to someone else. In this environment, that doesn't exist. Talking to someone else is hard, right? So it's going to limit the speed by which you can fill that role. It's also going to limit the quality by which you're going to be able to fill that role if you're not being exhaustive and efficient, right? So if you have 4 steps in your process, after each step, you should be saying, is this the right person or not? Did they meet the criteria of step 1? They did. They go to step 2. They did not. Thank you for your time. You have really good experience. I just don't think it's the right experience for what we're looking for. So then we move into the consistent piece. The same people asking the same questions in the same order. It removes bias and creates a baseline. If I, the business owner, know exactly what areas I'm going to focus on with a candidate, and I ask every candidate the same questions, I can measure those answers against each other. If I'm going to include others in the process, I want them to know exactly what questions they're asking. And a way you can do that is if I'm hiring an operations manager and I want my director of sales to talk to them, your director of sales should not be sitting down with that individual saying, so tell me about yourself. That's been done, right? If they're at this part of the process, we have beat that horse to death. That sales manager should be asking questions that directly relate to their relationship. So a sales manager, a question they might want to ask is, one of the challenges we have in this company right now is we put our sales order in and it takes a while for operations to process it and they're missing deadlines. They don't have the right materials on hand, or we have a back order, whatever it is, and we're missing our on-time deliveries. Have you experienced that in the past, and how did you resolve that issue? That would be a great question for a director of sales to ask. Not tell me about yourself. Your director of sales is not there to learn about and do an initial interview. They're there to understand, can I work with this person? How will we work? And will they be able to remove my constraints that I'm facing in regard to getting my job done? So that's kind of the consistent part of the process. The same people asking the same questions in the same order. That way we can remove the bias, create a baseline, and get ourselves set up. Just a quick note to that, the key hire process, key hire has been in existence now for I think about 7 years, which is incredible. And my pre-screen that I do with every person I talk to is exactly the same and has been for 7 years. It doesn't vary. We create a custom interview guide for each role that we work on with our clients based on the diligence we do in the company. And they all, the information I'm asking for might be different, but the format of that 15-minute pre-screen I do is exactly the same every time. Why? Because I don't want to be biased and I want to create a baseline for the role. So the more people I talk to, I start saying, oh, okay, this is what good sounds like. Okay, well, now this is what good sounds like. This person is, so I always have something to measure against. If I just go out there and start having conversations, I can't come back and quantify the information that I've gathered. And the second interview I do with them is exactly the same. It's the same format over and over and over again, because I don't want my bias to influence what's happening in the business. My job is to make sure the business owner is getting the right person in that business based on the information I'm able to uncover and how I'm able to represent them in the market. So I think that covers hiring on gut feel, and that I know it when I see it. I mean, gut feel is just a way of saying, don't have time, don't know how to create a process, so I'm just going to go in and wing it. And if I like them, I'll hire them. If I don't, I won't. But I won't know why I like them, and I'll know why I like them, but I won't know why I don't like them. But and I know it when I see it is I haven't done the time to really dive in and do the work around the exact skill set I need. So I'll just talk to people, and when I start hearing things I like, that means I'm seeing what I want. It's a risky way to go. Gut feel hires based on what information you're reading. The success rate is anywhere from 25 to 50%. I don't know how they're measuring success, but I would argue it's closer to 25%. So that's 1 in 4. Using a defined process like the key hire process, I can tell you we are over 90% successful with the process we use. And I'm sure you would want to be 90% successful. So I'll wrap it up there. I will follow it up, and it might be a good time, Matt, for me to throw this in here now. If you want to learn how to create a really super effective process, you can download our ebook that will walk you through the hiring in the Key of C on our website. We're giving it away. You can go down and you can download that ebook. It's a hefty ebook. There's a ton of information there. But I promise you, if you put the work in up front, your hiring process will become efficient. It will become exhaustive. You will improve your hiring accuracy. You will hire more A and B players, fewer C players, and you'll see your business rise. You'll see your productivity go up. You'll see your revenues go up. You'll see your efficiency go up. You'll see all the metrics, whatever you measure will go in the right direction. You can schedule a free consultation with us. We're happy to help. That's kind of the key hire credo. We're here to help small business owners. So until we'll talk to you in 2 weeks from now. Thanks for joining us. Can't wait to see you in 2 weeks on the Key Hire podcast for small businesses.